Hi y'all, welcome back to our channel. Today we have a request. We haven't had one of these in a while, and this one is from our friend Layla Liliana from Wattpad, who is the author of several books, but the one she wants us to talk about today is Distortion. I have read part of this book that she has written for our Open Novella Contest, and she has expanded it into a full-length novel. It was just featured on the Wattpad Editor's Choice list, so you should all go check it out.
And if you ever want us to feature your story on one of our videos, we will leave a link down to the Google form where you can put in a request for a future video. And if we choose your video, we will promote your story. So go check it out.
I love this question. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite parts about writing. It's one of the most important parts is writing your characters. And her specific question was, how do you develop three-dimensional characters right off the bat and you make them come across right away as round? And she says, and this is true, she says, anytime anyone asks the question, the answer you always get is, well, I just do it. Or I just write what feels right. Well, that's not helpful. We're going to give you 6 ways you can make your characters round and 3D. Number 1, pretend they are real people right from the beginning. Yeah, you're writing characters on a page for a story that's not real, but you have to pretend that they are real. How do you think people fall in love with fictional characters all the time? If someone asked me to describe you, to describe my best friend, I wouldn't say Crystal is a woman from Arizona who works in an office and has lots of animals.
What a boring life!
Or to describe myself, Rachel is a teacher who comes home and plays Animal Crossing before it's time to write for the night. Like, that's not what I would say about myself or about you or about anybody else that I care about. I would describe your personality, the things that make you who you are. It's the exact same thing with characters.
Yeah.
Give them the description and attention they deserve from the moment you introduce them. And that will help a lot with making your characters round.
Number 2, you need subplots. Your whole life isn't about one thing at a time. So neither should your characters. So if all your character is ever talking about is this romance, then that's the only side of them we're seeing. So there should be something else they're struggling with. There should be a family issue. There should be, work-related issue, money issues. I mean, real life issues, even if you're doing a fantasy or something, I mean, they could be like, fighting against a dragon. These are really important things to give them some depth, because if all we're hearing about is the romance, then it's kind of annoying. Really.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say, people really hate that. And they'll tell you that they hate that. It's shallow. Because ask yourself this question. If you are in a relationship or a marriage or whatever, is the only thing you talk about or think about your significant other? No. I mean, it shouldn't be.
I'll use an example from me, and I've used this one in the past, and that was with Quinn from Affliction. My mom hated Quinn the very first time I wrote her because she was so self-sacrificing and she thought about it all the time, and this was the meat of her character, and it was brought up so much that my mom was like, she's annoying. My mom she's annoying. You have to get rid of some of this self-sacrificing attitude with her. So the same kind of thing. Make sure that they're not single-minded. Also, make sure if you're going to throw some subplots in there, which you should, that makes for a good story, don't just throw them in for the sake of throwing them in. If you're saying your character has an issue with a family member, by the end of the book, we should come to some kind of resolution on that. The resolution can be, they're never going to change, and I've come to accept this. That's a simple resolution, but we should see that our character move and come to accept that this character will never change, and they have to accept that. So make sure you're tying up all your subplots.
Number 3, to make your characters believable, make sure that they don't react to things in some overly dramatic, extra, over-the-top fashion, unless the moment calls for it. I am the self-proclaimed queen of extra. I am pretty extra, but I don't react that way over just regular little things unless, there's something else going on in the background that has led me to have that reaction. You're not just gonna off the bat go batshit crazy. So don't have your characters do that either.
Number 4, it goes with number 3, which is to set the scene. So if the character is going to have a big dramatic moment, we need to be building up to that moment. So when it happens, the reader's not thinking, why are they blowing their gasket? We know that that's triggering for them, and that's why they're having the attitude that they're having. So make sure that that's explained, or it's going to come off as a little unsettling, and somebody just might look at it as they're reading as they're really over dramatic, and then that could be that's a turn off trait. A really over dramatic character, especially an MC, you might not want to read a whole book on that person. 60,000 words of, drama mama might not be your thing.
Number 5, think about the end goal. Every book has some sort of resolution at the end. Even if it's a series, it may not be completely tied up. But let's take a standalone book. You have something you're trying to get to. If you don't, then you have a problem. So that's a whole other video about plotting. Think about what your characters need to do to get to that end goal and relate it to what you as a human being would need to do if you needed to get to that same end goal. Don't just make it easy to get there, because life isn't easy.
Number 6, which is they've got to have flaws. And sometimes we make the flaws like little things. She's a perfectionist. That's fine, but we're all completely flawed in many different ways. It's okay for your reader to have a moment where they say, I'm really disliking the MC right now. These decisions they're making are bad decisions, and I'm not okay with them, as long as by the time we get to the end of the book, we're resolving that, and that the flaw doesn't become the standalone of the character. So we're just having a moment where they're going, he's an idiot, and we're moving on, but he's still a lovable idiot. I still don't want him to be an idiot. Like, your intentions as a reader are still good intentions for the character.
Yeah. And there you have it. 6 things you can do. And really, if you just do number 1, that's a really good start. So we hope that this helped you with a little bit more specific advice rather than, I just do it and it happens.
If you would like to read what we consider to be some pretty darn well-rounded characters, go check out our stories on Wattpad at Crystal and Felicity.
If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and then make sure you hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video every Friday.
And as always, write what you love.